Well, hi everybody. We're back talking about biblical genre. The reminder that in the scriptures we find not just one type of literature; it is a library. And so you'll find in this book you'll find poetry and wisdom and gospel and parable and narrative and well a bunch of other things. And so often when people say I have trouble understanding the Bible, it's because they haven't grasped this simple idea that in the scripture you will find a variety of ways of expression just as we do in the different genre that we have. You know, I am currently reading a narrative, a biography of Winston Churchill. Okay, that's narrative. This is not poetry. This is narrative. Now, this is by leading historian Andrew Roberts, just a great historian, especially the Second World War period. And the rules for understanding that are different than understanding other kinds of scripture. Well, today we're talking about wisdom, biblical wisdom. Now, biblical wisdom lives right next door to biblical poetry, but it is a slightly different thing. Biblical wisdom is, we think of the book of Proverbs. And the book of Proverbs is a collection of wise sayings. And that you also find biblical wisdom in the Psalms. You will find it in Job. You will find it in the Song of Solomon. You will find it in Ecclesiastes. And each of those are distinct books telling us different aspects of wisdom. But let me give you a few things to help you understand biblical wisdom the best. Number one, the basic idea of biblical wisdom is contrasting wisdom and folly. Now, wisdom and folly are not abstract. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. That is regarding the Lord Yahweh highly. That's the fear of the Lord. Reverencing Him is the beginning of wisdom. Wisdom and folly are not just about don't do that, it's dumb. Do that, it's smart. It's about that the wise thing is the thing that conforms and brings glory to the will of God. And the foolish thing is the thing that does not conform to that and is ultimately destructive to ourselves because we're designed to live in harmony with the presence of God. So wisdom and folly is the big thing. Now let's just go a little deeper into the book of Proverbs to enable us to understand this, because Proverbs is this collection of wisdom. And if you get into it, there's a preamble in chapter 1, then a longer prologue that goes through chapter 9, and then you have a collection of wise sayings of Solomon, and then a collection of just wise sayings by anybody. Then there's another collection of wise sayings by Solomon, and then another collection of wise sayings by everybody else. And probably that represents the composition of the book, that this probably that started with these wise sayings of Solomon, then these other things ran into by whom? I don't know. Maybe Solomon, maybe somebody in his court. We don't know. Another book of wisdom is the book of Job. Job, poor old Job. Job is about how does God rule the world? Or to use the big theological term, theodicy. Now, there's basically two ways that God could have set up these things. First, He could have set it up this way, that every time you do something good happens to you. Every time you do something bad happens to you. Help a little lady across the street, guess what? You get to the other side, there's $1 on the curb, you know? Okay, kick your puppy, guess what? You stub your toe. So it's always that way. Or you can create a world in which these two are not so tightly, related to each other. There's a separation, and the separation is there because if we did everything for the good thing that would happen to us, guess what? We would be like an animal pressing a bar to get a treat. In other words, genuine goodness can't exist in that kind of world. Well, Job is about that. It is about the limits of wisdom and the fact that there are things that happen that are above my pay grade that I just can't understand. I just had a good friend, wonderful person, pass away. And it's like, Lord, of all the people that would get sick and die. Why her? Why now? Why at her relatively young age? I don't know the answer to that. It's above my pay grade. One day I think God's going to explain all those things to us. So that's really what Job is about. Ecclesiastes, the main thing about that book about wisdom is it says, look, life is like puff of wind, a puff of smoke. It's here and then it's gone. You can read Ecclesiastes on one level and say, man, this is bleak. But it's saying, this is the way it would be if God were not real. But, good news, chapter 12, God is real. Changes everything. I call it the difference between under the sun and over the sun. All throughout Ecclesiastes, the author says, well, this is the way it is under the sun. But guess what? We're under the S-O-N, not just the S-U-N. Song of Solomon. It's about sex and romance. It's about the mystery of being man or woman. And and believe me, don't we all know that's a mysterious thing. Now, a couple of things about wisdom that help you understand as we wrap up. Wisdom is always comparative, not absolute. I give an example with Proverbs that we use all the time. Look before you leap. That good advice? Yeah, that's good advice. He who hesitates is lost. Is that good advice? Yeah, it's also good advice. Are they a little contradictory? Yeah, they are, because guess what? Wisdom is always comparative and not absolute. There are times you should look before you leap. There are times, he who hesitates is lost. And that's the nature of wisdom. It is situational. It is comparative, not absolute. A similar idea, wisdom is statistical, not absolute. Raise up your children in the right way, and that when they're older, they won't depart from it. Is that true? Mostly. Always? Afraid not. And that's just not, kids get up, they grow up, and they get their minds of their own, and everything that you put in them, some of them they're going to keep, and some maybe not so much. So that is a little bit about biblical wisdom. I hope you find this helpful, and we'll be doing more of these. Until then, God bless. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.